Hello, welcome back to my channel, Mel Stampin' Gallery. I'm Melanie, and today I am doing a mystery envelope for you, and this one comes to our friend Katie Weeks, and she has sent us some designer series paper from Stampin' Up, and this is from an older collection. And she has said to make something in the new Stampin' Up! 24-25 catalog using these old products and anything in your stash. So basically we're just casing something from the catalog as far as I can tell and kind of making it our own, combining some old with some new. So in the catalog, let me show you what my inspiration is going to be. I like this stamp set here called Beach Day Stamp Set. And I like how they've built this little scene on this card. And I do have that stamp set right here, Beach Day. It's got all these adorable little images and some cute little sayings to go along with it. And the nice thing about the Stampin' Up! Dies and stamps, coordinating stamp sets, is that you get not only the dies to coordinate with the stamp sets, but you do get some extra pieces. And this one had the waves and some fences, and some other various things. I think there's a palm tree in there. So I hope to incorporate some of those on my layout design today. So let me go ahead and clear all this out of the way, and I'll bring my Versamat back in and we can get started designing. So let's bring in the Versamat so we can get started. And for my base page today, I am using this piece of wood grain paper that I had in my stash. Of course, we carry the Country Woods wood grain paper right now, but I have had this staring at me in my stash for probably years. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and use it today. And what I want to do is, as I typically do, go ahead and sponge the edges of this. I don't often use a pattern piece of paper for my base, and this is a 12 by 12. So because it is the wood grain and it has the pattern running in just one direction, I kind of wanted to ink up the edges just to kind of make your eye stop. To kind of make a frame, if you will, around the page so that your eye doesn't wander off the page. I don't know, does that make sense? So anyway, I'll finish that up and then I'll be right back. Okay, and I am almost finished. So I did want to mention that I do use these wood handles, and I got this one from scrapbook.com. I also have a link on Amazon to it down in my description box. And then you also get these dome toppers that that are on a piece of Velcro, and then you can take on and off to use, whoops, for your different colors. In this color that I used today was the Baked Brown Sugar, and that is an old Stampin' Up! Color. All right, so let's line this up on our Versamat, and I am going to bring in a piece of cardstock that I've prepared. Again, these are from my stash, but this I think is chocolate chip maybe, and this is an old piece. I don't even know where it's from. All right, so I'm building a frame, and this is a 10 by 10. This is 10 by 10, so this is just a smidge bigger than that, and that's going to go kind of here in the center, about like so. All right, so I realized I didn't even show you the picture that I want to use today. I have this picture of my great niece. And this, I think, I'll have to ask my niece, but I think this was in 2007. And I will tell you more about that picture in a minute. But that is the picture that I want to use. And then Katie sent us what did she, 3 pieces of 6x6 designer series paper that we could use, and I used a couple of them, but I also pulled some scraps from my stash, and I got to thinking, what sketch do I have that would work well for the 6x6 papers? And I remembered this sketch, pattern number 1 from the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 book that I am working my way through with my friend Erin and some of our other friends. And we did this. This is the first sketch that we did, and it had all these little squares of different pattern papers that you can see here in the different samples. And like I said, I do have a video for that, and I will link that, be sure to link that at the end. But I thought this would be a good layout to use those scraps. So I used some of the scraps that Katie sent, but I also went into my stash and found some papers that I like. So some are from what Katie sent and some are from my stash. And I just cut them down into 3x3 squares, and I'm just laying them out in the grid here. Okay, and let's see, what else have we got here? And let's see, we've got this floral one here. And I think these are old Stampin' Up! Papers as well. Most all of these are. And let's see. Oh, I had the flower down here. And let's put this one here. I like that kind of washed look. And I think we have this one here. That's one of the ones Katie sent, and this is one of the ones Katie sent. And here is where I'm going to build my little scene. Remember from the catalog, my original inspiration piece? All right, so then we've got then the picture that's going to go here. Now before I adhere any of those down, and don't worry, I took a picture of it so I remember where everything goes, I'm going to move these off, set those aside for a minute, and then I have this nautical looking stamp, and it's from, let's see if I can find it here, the Close to My Heart stamp and thin cuts. It was the Cape Cod scrapbooking stamp, and I like this rope image here. So I think I want to stamp that kind of around the edge and make another frame to add to that beach theme. So let's go ahead and bring in our baked brown sugar once again. And any of the browns, neutrals that Stampin' Up! Carries would work well for this. This is just what I had in my stash, and this is what I like. So then I've got it mounted on the big block. Oops, you know what? I need to clean off my finger, but let's flip this over to make sure we have the spongy side and make sure I've got you down there. All right, and I'm going to start down here. I've got it inked up on my block. And then I'm just going to go for it. Okay, now you see it doesn't dry right away. This, like I said, is an old paper and it has a texture to it I can feel, but it will dry and it will soak into the paper. Now, if you notice, if I take my block and line it up, I'm going to go off the paper here, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to get a little Post-it note or some scratch paper to put in and make a, and I will just line that up from where I ended the previous stamp. And press down, being careful not to rock the stamp, and then lift up. All right, that's not perfect, but you know what, that's okay. I'm okay with that. I can always cover it up with an embellishment or something, so that's okay. And I'm going to finish it all around the edges, and then we'll be done. Okay, so as I was laying these out, I thought I kind of wanted to do some sponging on all these little squares as well. So I just like the look that it gives it, and it also kind of adds to that beachy feel, I think, because some of these papers of course have that white background, and with the flowers, no, that seems kind of strange maybe with a beach, but I just liked it. I thought it went well with her cute little smile and her little hat that she's wearing, so I just thought that helped with the whole feel of the all the papers. Okay, and then kind of tone down the white a little bit because I liked the white, but then I also wanted to use those beachy colors, so that's why I decided to do all the sponging on the edges. All the squares are adhered down, and you might notice I did make a change. I decided to add this pattern paper from the current in color 6x6 paper pack. Let me see if I can show you that here. The 2024-26 in color 6x6 designer series paper pack. And it's got all these different prints in it that match the in colors, and I thought I would put that on there instead, and that forms a nice triangle with the color in her dress. Then you've got that nice triangle, like I said. Okay, so then over here we've got our little scene that I'm working on, and to stamp the beach, the ocean, and the sky, I actually used that stamp set from the Cape Cod, Close to My Heart Cape Cod card making stamp set, and it had each one of those images in it. And to stamp that, I used, for the sand, I used Mink from Close to My Heart, and I used Marina Mist. For the ocean, that's an old Stampin' Up color, and another oldie but goodie from Stampin' Up was the Soft Sky. Oh, that was for the ocean, pardon me, and the Marina Mist was for the sky. So then, to build a little scene, I took the stamps and the coordinating die cuts and just stamped and cut them out. And then for the umbrella, I stamped it on the piece of designer series paper and just fussy cut that to paper piece it. I did the same thing with the little beach chair. So that's going to go like that. And the sand down here, we've got this tiny little sand castle. And I stamped that in the baked brown sugar and on white cardstock actually, and then I just sponged it a little bit to give it a softer color with that baked brown sugar. So that's going to get built like that. Down here in this corner, I stamped and die cut the lifeguard image, and like I said, it has a die cut, and I colored that with the Colorista pencils from Spectrum Noir. I just used the various colors. And to adhere these images, I'm going to use my Barely Art glue and adhere those down. I don't really have a whole lot of journaling for this particular picture per se. The picture was part of a trip that we took. It was actually a destination wedding for my niece, their mother, and they got married in Turks and Caicos. It's funny because I'd never heard of Turks and Caicos until my niece said she wanted to get married there, and of course we couldn't say no, we can't go, because we love our niece, obviously we want to be there. So it was a beautiful place. I don't know if you've ever been there. Like I said, I'd never heard of it. Unfortunately, there had been a bad hurricane when they were originally supposed to have the wedding. So they had to move the wedding back to a couple of months. So there was still some damage from the hurricane there. So that kind of took away from some of it, but not all of it. It was still absolutely beautiful. But I do have a huge story to go with this trip, because the getting there and the getting home, if you've ever flown out of Cleveland, Ohio, in the middle of winter of January, it was not fun. Probably we had the worst snowstorm we'd ever had. So that is a whole nother story. We were delayed by 24 hours. We didn't even get there the day we were supposed to. And coming home, we had to change planes in, I think, Charlotte, South Carolina, which doesn't really get too much snow, but guess what? They had the worst ice storm they've ever had in like the past previous 20 years, and we were delayed in the Charlotte airport getting home and couldn't get home for a day from there. And guess what? We spent a day in the airport sleeping on cots in the lobby, which, if you've ever done that, that is not fun. Not something you want to do again. But anyway, so that's part of the story, and I will probably save that for some big journaling to come a little bit later. But now I want to go ahead and finish adhering this, and I think I'm going to take some of my Stampin' Dimensionals and adhere to the back of the life art stand to pop that up a little bit. and then we will come back and work on the title up here at the top. And like I said, the only journaling I will probably put here is just the name, her name, and probably a location, I suppose. Almost done. What I want to do now is work on a title. I've got some of that, it's like a gold thread. Katie's put it in the envelope for us, and I want to just kind of making a nest, for lack of a better word. I want to put it under the title, so I just put down a little Tombow adhesive right there, and I'm just kind of catching it because that's all going to get hidden under the title anyway. So just working with that. And then to make the title, like I said, I had the Cape Cod scrapbooking stamp set, and it had all these nice sayings in it, and I thought the plane in the sand was absolutely perfect. So I've got a piece of white cardstock. Let's move this out of the way. And I've got my stamping sponge there, and I'm going to stamp that with my baked brown sugar. And I'll just stamp, and then I'm going to die cut that out with a rectangle shape that I have. This one here, that's an old die set from Stampin' Up, so I'm going to cut that out. And then also for the top, this also had the little words that says "You can find me," so I thought that would be perfect to stamp to put on top of here. So I'm going to use, let's switch. I am using the Summer Splash, which is this color here, to stamp that title. And these are very, very, very juicy pads, so you do not need to stamp or press very hard on your ink pad. Let that soak in a sec and lift it up, and then I'm going to go cut these out, and I will be right back. All right, we are almost finished. I've got my title stamped and die cut, and I did put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of that, so I'll adhere that down, and then I will do the same thing with the title here. If I can find them, there they are. So I thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you will take a moment to check out the other ladies and their mystery envelopes. I wanted to tell you we are no longer known as the Makers with Heart. We are doing, with all the changes and everything with Close to My Heart, some girls were staying, some girls were going, so it was a good time to kind of start fresh. So there are 4 of us right now. We're hoping to get some more join us, and there will probably be some guests, special guests along the way as well. But for now, we are going to be known as the Inspiration Collaboration Design Team. And we will still be having our mystery envelopes on the 25th of every month. And starting next month in June, we will be starting our product challenges once again. And those will go live on the 10th of every month. So please be sure to check that description box down below. Myself, Katie Weeks, Dawn Haight, and Cami DeBoer are all members of the Inspiration Collaboration Design Team. And for still shots, please be sure to check out my social media pages, because I will have the still shots on my Instagram and Facebook in the next couple of days. So once again, thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, bye-bye.